It all started when I saw a lonely last breath Sains in the distance, and then I knew, based on the way it was looking, this kill would be mine. But then a Delta Sans got in the way, and I had no choice but to terminate it as they were in my way, my noble sword clashing against their will. But then they vanished into the distance. Then my goal was set in stone. I would defeat the last breath Sans and reclaim my crown as the king of Free Sans Morphs 2. The battle was looking intense, his bones hurtling towards me at a rapid pace, almost tripping me, but I remained still, my goal in mind. Several times I risked death but barely survived. Until the last breath Sans was incredibly low, I tried to finish them off with a blow to the skull, but the Alpha Judge sniped them. I took this chance to try and regenerate as much health as possible, for what would come next would be devastating. They had entered Phase 2, becoming stronger than ever. Then the last breath Sans turned towards me, hurtling over whatever got in its way to reach me, in an attempt to slaughter the king. I didn't let this happen, as my noble cause remained constant. I would win this fight no matter what. Bow and arrow blazing, I shot multiple times at the last breath, for them to just barely dodge. This was devastating. They had learned. I wouldn't let this happen, and unsheathed my mighty sword of judgment. In a desperate attempt to defeat me, they made it up the hill, but I wouldn't let this happen and attempted to cover distance. The last breath Sans tripped, allowing me to make medium distance even without my dash. Now I was in a dominant position. I walked slowly towards the ever so dubious Sans, and eventually I made it close. And then my mighty plan came into play. I struck, but the last breath Sans was one step too far. I had none of it. I continued raging like the warrior I am, trying to get close to deliver my consecutive shots of fatal damage. But the fight kept going, the last breath growing ever more fatigued by the minute. I was starting to win until they blocked. After this, I was struck by a random enemy, causing me to sustain fatal damage. I had lost everything, and all I had to do was win this fight. They blocked again, and so I began to get serious, constantly unsheathing my sword and resting it in a repeated pattern to make my cooldowns at a loss. I wanted this to get done fast. I felt the hopes of everyone in the server on my shoulders. As if this creature lived, it would bring anarchy upon the tranquil lands of Free Sans Morphs 2. I felt as if my purpose was met, that I would win life at the end of this. I started to lose hope, as I kept missing, letting the last breath Sans regenerate health. And then, something happened, which I will never forget. I turned and saw a figure. At first I thought they were loathed in jealousy of my monarchy based on a previous encounter, but then, they helped me. They were the first ally I ever had met. He threw his hurdles at the last breath Sans, allowing me to creep up close and slice him into salami. He had entered Phase 3, and all I had to do was wait, as he would eventually gain incredible weakness. Suddenly, the one who helped me achieve this mark stood with me. He was a brother, and he would protect me. At least, this is what I thought. Instinctively, I activated my shield, waiting for anything to happen. But this was no use, as what happened next shook me. A mysterious force which I didn't see instantly killed him. I was horrified, and I knew revenge would be mine. Round 3 began. At this point, I had no choice but to survive until he was no longer immortal. I wasn't fighting for a cause anymore. I wasn't fighting for glory to be remembered, only for revenge. Only for the one who stood by me. I then saw the one who stood by me. My brother met my eyes once again, but he was weak. I was incredibly enraged, but at this point, his immortality ended. I then struck with pure rage, and then he died.